What we know about employee engagement is that the number one driver of engagement is getting to work from our strengths. And so at Tap the Potential, we utilize the People Map as one of the first tools to start identifying strengths. And this is around communication style and how we organize ourselves in the world. And the People Map is a tremendous tool for that. Another tool that we use in conjunction with the People Map is StrengthsFinder. And so with these two tools, we're able to quickly identify the strengths of our team members and start looking at what are they doing in the company that they really enjoy, that gives them energy, and what are the things they are doing that they don't enjoy, that drain their energy. And the longer we work on things that drain our energy, the more likely we are to get burned out. So I think it's critical to be asking this question at least once a month, if not every time that you have a one-to-one, because it allows the team member to tune in to working from their strengths. It also allows you to tune into what it is they're doing in the business that really energizes them and excites them. And you get to look for ways that you can support them in creating more opportunities for them to work from their strengths.
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire.
When I started my business almost 18 years ago now, I remember my last day on the job. It was a half day. I left early. I packed up my office and I drove away. And I remember driving out of the parking lot thinking, I get to do whatever I want. Right? And when we go into business, isn't that kind of the experience that we have at first? Like, this is mine. I get to make it however I want it to be. I'm the boss. I'm going to be in charge of my time. And then reality sets in. And one of the things as I reflect on that time is that if somebody would have told me all the ways I would stretch and grow personally and professionally over the next 18 years, I would have run away scared. Because being in business is such a tremendous personal development journey. And I also didn't appreciate at the time, I had no understanding of the different phases that a business goes through as it develops, and what's needed of the owner at one phase is not what's needed at the next phase. And if somebody would have shared with me, here's what you can expect, and here are the challenges that are going to come up, but don't worry, there's a roadmap, there's a plan for how to handle those challenges, it would have short-circuited so many of my School of Hard Knocks experiences. And I remember times, especially early in business, where I had challenges with clients making payments, or I didn't know how. I put off hiring way too long because I was scared to death to hire and mess it up. If somebody would have said, hey, this is normal, everybody goes through this, and here's what you do, here's how you handle it, it would have really helped me, and I would have been able to develop things a lot faster than I did. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so proud of what we have put together at Tap the Potential over the last 18 years to create the Tap the Potential solution, which is the guaranteed path to designing your business to be sustainably profitable so that you have more time for what matters most to you and more money in your bank account than ever. And the beauty of the Tap the Potential solution is that as we take you through the Tap the Potential solution in our Better Business, Better Life program, you're really in an incubator with other successful business owners. We bring people into our Better Business, Better Life program who are having the growing pains that are associated with success, where you are selling, and because you're selling, you need more team members. But then because you need team members, then you have to learn how to lead, and you have to learn how to coach, and you have to learn how to talk to people appropriately so that they actually respond. You have to learn how to set expectations and hold accountability for those expectations. And you have to stay profitable while you do that. And that's where so many business owners really struggle, is losing the profitability of the business as it grows, because there's tremendous inefficiency that comes in as we're going through all of those school of hard knocks experiences. So the fastest way to stay profitable is to get away from those school of hard knocks experiences and work with people who can take you by the hand and say, hey, do this over here. It will eliminate these 10 problems that you're experiencing right now that are keeping you awake at night. And so if you're in that place where you're growing, your business is succeeding, and it's not profitable, or you feel like you're losing profitability, I really encourage you to look at what we have to offer you at Tap the Potential in our Better Business, Better Life program. Utilize us to make 2023 the year that you stop having these growing pains and learn that you're not alone, and there are real solutions, and there are simple solutions that you can put in place that become foundational pieces in your business that set you up for years and years of sustainable profit in your future. So head on over to tapthepotential.com and book a call with a member of our success team who will talk with you about your current situation and share with you the solutions that we have and how we can support you on your journey so that you have an enjoyable, fun, entrepreneurial experience. And most importantly, you have time for what really matters to you. All the freedom that you wanted when you started your business becomes possible, and you learn how to grow as a leader with the support around you that you need. Head on over to tapthepotential.com and book a call with us. Let us help you in 2023. So, speaking of growing in your leadership, I want to share with you one simple practice that you can develop in your business that will dramatically improve communication and help you hold team members accountable with clear expectations for them. And that is having regular one-to-one meetings with your team members. Now, I know what you may be thinking, Sabrina, I'm so busy. Where do I find time to have a weekly one-to-one with my team members? How do I fit this in? I need to take care of clients and customers. Well, one of the aha moments that I had as I started bringing on team members is that my job shifted from taking care of our clients and customers to taking care of our team. And that is a critical mindset shift as a business owner. We have to take care of our team, make sure that they feel safe and supported, that they have the resources that they need in order to be able to do their jobs really well. And we need to be checking in with them on that on a weekly basis or bi-weekly every other week. But no, you don't want to let much more time than that go by. And the reason is when you have these regular one-to-one meetings, you will catch problems before they become big. But if you aren't having one-to-ones and you're saying, well, we all work in the same office, we see each other every day, why do we need to have these one-to-ones? Well, the one-to-ones create a safe environment where your team member knows they're going to have your full focused attention. It's their time. And anything that's bothering them or that's on their mind, that's where they take that thing and they bring it to you, rather than if you don't have the one-to-one, they're going to hold on to that and they're going to wonder, I don't know how to bring this up. I don't know where to bring this up. I don't know, how it's going to be received. The beauty of having the regular one-to-one with your team members is the trust that gets created through that regular meeting. And so there's some key pieces that you need to be aware of as you're doing one-to-ones. Number one, it needs to be a steady, consistent time on the calendar. You need to keep that appointment and treat it like an appointment with your most valuable client. Because they're your team members. They are your most valuable client because you're investing in them so that they in turn will take great care of your clients and customers, and you're growing the capacity of your reach through the investment that you're making in your team members. So treat these meetings as sacred time. Don't shuffle them around on the calendar. Don't cancel them at the last minute. I know every now and then that may happen, but that needs to be the exception to the rule and not consistently canceling and rescheduling the meetings with your team members. So find a day and time, get it consistent on your calendar. And these really are short and sweet. The idea is to have these meetings in about 20 minutes per team member. So, and the ideal is that you aren't having more than 5 one-to-ones each week. So you shouldn't be supervising more than 5 people. If you have more than 5 people on your team, it's time to raise up another leader in your business so that they can take on some of those supervisory responsibilities. But each leader should have only 5 people reporting to them. It becomes unmanageable when you start doing all these one-to-ones to have more than 5. And when you're doing these meetings and you keep them short and sweet, number one, it helps you and the team member kind of get in there and say what needs to be said and then move on. And it doesn't become, let's talk and dive into all these issues in a deep way. It's really more, what specifically do you need in your role to be successful with the results that you're responsible for delivering for us? And then when issues are identified in the one-to-one, there's the opportunity to figure out, well, is coaching needed? What does the leadership team need to do to address various issues, particularly if multiple team members are involved? Oftentimes in one-to-ones, issues that the entire leadership team should be addressing get identified in the one-to-one. Then those issues are taken into the leadership team, and usually systems are involved that need to be addressed and improved. So I just want to give you kind of that framework of, here's what should be happening in the one-to-one. Here's what you do with things that get identified in the one-to-one. We also, in our Better Business, Better Life program, have business owners who are hearing their team members talk about specific challenges, and they bring those into their small group coaching with us or their spot coaching with a member of our team for us to help them figure out the deeper issues that are going on in the business and create systems and a plan for addressing those deeper issues. So when you're doing the one-to-one and you're doing it consistently, that consistency is building up trust with your team member. So consistency is really important, but the other key piece that's very important for developing trust is that you give your team member your focused attention during this 20 to 30 minute block of time. Turn off your phone. Don't look at your computer screen. You are sitting side by side with them or across from them, or if you're on a Zoom call, you're making eye contact and you are actively listening to them. This is not a time where you do training. There should be a separate, if you're doing individual training with someone, that needs to be a separate meeting, but this is just a time for checking in. And I want to give you some key questions that you can ask in the one-to-one to make this short and sweet. So the first question is, what are some of your wins and successes from the past week? It's a great time to check in both on personal wins so that you learn more about the individual and what's important to them, what matters most to them. And it's also where they get to toot their own horn and tell you what they have been doing in relation to their role in the business and where they're having a win or success. Another question is, how have you gone the extra mile, added value, stepped up, gone out of your way to serve our top clients or to save us money? This directly ties to your sweet spot and profitability, and it keeps that question about how have you stepped up, keeps the idea in front of your team member that every week they're expected to better their best and do something a little bit beyond what they did the previous week, because that's really how we grow our businesses, is those individuals working in the business, become better and better, and we look for ways to serve from our strengths at Tap the Potential. That's one of our immutable laws. We call it being a gift from our gifts. But the end of the question is, ways have you found to save us money? This reminds your team members of the importance of looking from their role. What ways can the business run more efficiently? What can they do to save the business money? Just imagine if you're talking to your team members about that every week and they have this focus, it keeps them focused on efficiency, which is a key piece to driving profitability in a small business. And then you don't need to ask this every one-to-one meeting, but I would throw this in at least once a month in your one-to-one meeting. And that is an update on their career goal for the quarter. So what that means is that you've had a conversation with them at some point about their opportunities for advancement with your company. And what are they doing to hit the criteria for advancement? And so if there's training that they're undertaking or if they're reading a book, this is their opportunity to update you on what they're doing so that they're prepared to advance. And I love the idea of having a formal advancement plan that is discussed with your team member and you document it so that when there's a goal for the quarter, it's a documented goal and they know what they need to be doing to work on that goal. And so everyone is clear on how advancement will happen and when it will happen. Every meeting, every week, you want to be asking for an update on their key result. So each team member should have a key result that they're responsible for delivering. It needs to be measurable. And so in the one-to-one, you're just asking for them to update you, and it's their responsibility to update you on that key result. Are they hitting the minimal criteria on that, or are they falling below it? That gives you an opportunity to check in with them on what's going on, especially if they're falling below it, so that you can create a plan with them. And that's an opportunity for coaching to happen so that they can be more effective in the week ahead. If they are exceeding their key result in some way, that's an opportunity to really be curious about what are you doing that's working, because possibly that's something you want to train other team members so that you can exceed results in multiple areas in the business. And if they're on your leadership team, one of the things I encourage you to do is every quarter have quarterly rocks set with your members of your leadership team. And their quarterly rock is a personal project that they're taking on that relates to the business's overall goals for the year. And so this is where you're checking in and doing in your one-to-ones with your leadership team. You're just asking them to update on their progress on their quarterly rock. And again, you're doing the same thing. If they're falling behind or struggling in some way, you're looking for how you can coach them and support them so that they can succeed in accomplishing their quarterly rock. Another question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I used my strengths a lot this week, where would you say you are for the past week? And what is the reason for the answer that you're giving or the rating that you're giving? What we know about employee engagement is that the number one driver of engagement is getting to work from our strengths. And so at Tap the Potential, we utilize the People Map as one of the first tools to start identifying strengths. And this is around communication style and how we organize ourselves in the world. And the People Map is a tremendous tool for that. Another tool that we use in conjunction with the People Map is StrengthsFinder. And so with these two tools, we're able to quickly identify the strengths of our team members and start looking at what are they doing in the company that they really enjoy, that gives them energy, and what are the things they are doing that they don't enjoy, that drain their energy. And the longer we work on things that drain our energy, the more likely we are to get burned out. So I think it's critical to be asking this question at least once a month, if not every time that you have a one-to-one, because it allows the team member to tune in to working from their strengths. It also allows you to tune into what it is they're doing in the business that really energizes them and excites them. And you get to look for ways that you can support them in creating more opportunities for them to work from their strengths. Another question is, what challenges or roadblocks are you experiencing? What are you working on next? And what support do you need from me? So these questions in a one-to-one really get at the heart of just keeping your team member very focused on what's their key result they're supposed to be delivering, where things are getting bogged down, where they're having success, how they can keep building on success, and looking at working from their strengths and how you can best support them on that. Now, one of the things that I often hear from business owners when they start the one-to-ones is, oh my gosh, my one-to-one went much longer than 20 minutes, Dr. Sabrina, and my team members really like talking to me, it turns out. How do I keep it to 20 minutes? Well, number one, have an agenda. Send these questions out to your team members ahead of time. Ask them to come into the meeting prepared with their answers so they're not having to spend a lot of time thinking in the one-to-one or talking out loud as they're thinking out loud. So if they've prepared ahead of time, create that expectation that they're going to prepare ahead of time. I also encourage you to keep a notebook for your one-to-one so you can check back from meeting to meeting. And if they're committing to taking action on something and it doesn't spontaneously come up in their wins and successes in the next week's one-to-one, you can ask about it. That creates accountability, and what gets checked on gets done. So if you don't follow up from meeting to meeting on things that were discussed, you're losing an opportunity to create accountability people really respond to, and it's very positive accountability. Another way to keep these meetings fairly concise is to be mindful of when you're asking an open-ended question and when to ask a closed question. So an example of an open-ended question is, what are some of your wins and successes from the previous week? That is a question that invites, kind of free-flowing thought to happen there and sharing. A closed question is a yes-no question. So do you have everything you need to be able to go forward this week? That's a yes-no question. Use the yes-no questions near the end of the meeting when you need to wind things down. Avoid asking the open-ended questions like, what thoughts have you had about that? Or what ideas have you had about that? Avoid those at the end of the meeting because that will just open up the discussion and keep it going.
So when you notice you're 15 minutes in and you need to wrap up at the 20-minute mark, one phrase that you might use is, hey, I'm noticing our time. We just have about 5 minutes left. Let's move to making sure we're covering what's most important to leave with today, and then transition to your next question. That will help close down the conversation. And then one of the things that I think is really powerful as you wind down the conversation is to just do a check-in for what are you taking away and what actions are you going to take. Take note on what they're taking away and the actions that they're going to take so that you can follow up next time. A lot of times, if there have been insights or learning that they're taking away, sometimes that can slip below the surface after the next day or so. And so just circling back to those in your one-to-one conversations will help your team members solidify their learning and their growth. So one of the biggest benefits of doing these one-to-ones is that it's actually going to save you a lot of time. And the way it saves time is it provides your team members with a safe space where they know they can bring their issues to you. They know that's the time to do that. And so it eliminates a lot of drive-by questions and, hey, you got a minute, because they can bring that to you in the one-to-one, and you really want to educate them about using the one-to-one to dive deeper in those issues. And it really prevents, when you do that, you're preventing a lot of context switching going on in the workplace for you and your team members. So it really brings in more efficiency and helps you to recapture your time. And that's what we're all about here at Tap the Potential, is helping business owners like you take your life back from your business and recapture time so that you can repurpose that time for what matters most to you. And the one-to-ones are a big part of doing that. Although on the surface, it looks like, oh, I have to schedule 5 meetings in my week now. That doesn't feel like recapturing time, but trust me, as you do this, you will see that it saves you a lot of time and prevents problems down the road. The other thing that I want to share with you is don't pressure yourself to start one-to-ones with all of your team members right away. Pick one team member and get started with them. Get the one-to-one habit going. Practice it, and then bring in the next team member and the next, and keep adding
I really recommend you start with one, do it for 6 weeks, and then add your next team member. Do that for a couple of weeks, and then add your next team member. And when you're thinking about, well, which team member should I start with? Your temptation might be to start with your most challenging team member who has the most struggles. I actually encourage you to focus on your A players, your team members who are doing the best, because oftentimes they get overlooked because they're doing well and they don't need our attention. Well, your A players, when you pour into them, you're going to get significant results back. So that's where I recommend that you start, and then add in your more challenging team members further down the road as you go. But really start with your best team members, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the results that you get from that. So I hope what I've shared has been helpful with you today as you go into 2023 and you think about being a better leader, a better version of yourself. Taking the time to listen and be fully present with your team members is a great step in that direction. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.